Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another third stimulus check unemployment benefits extension update. So in today's update, I want to take a revisit once again to talking about the stimulus check side of things. Now we do have some new information and we just have other kinds of just general things I figured are important to address. The general idea is that we do have new information about official dates, about when we can expect stimulus checks if you guys are someone that happens to still be waiting for your stimulus check. I do also want to maybe talk about potential delays that might be happening to some people. Not many people, thankfully not many people, but it's really just that some people may potentially go through, or maybe you might even have already been going through it right now. For example, if you're still waiting for your second stimulus check or anything related to that. And I also want to just end this talking a lot more about the garnishment side, about whether or not it's garnished, because the answer is yes. There are some people that may have their stimulus checks garnished. However, it's kind of there's an explanation to it about who it is, because it's not everyone's gonna get it garnished, but yes, some people. So we're gonna get started right on the spot. But before we begin, make sure you smash the like button, especially in light of a lot of the really great news now that we officially have an approval. Feel free to consider subscribing if you guys are interested in other stimulus, unemployment, government relief, and other finance investing topics. I know we are in the final stretch of stimulus checks and unemployment, so it's really just if you guys want to. And feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about honestly just really anything at all. If I overlook your comment, feel free to maybe just comment it maybe in any kind of recent video. And also maybe feel free to comment if you have any information about whether or not you've either received your stimulus check already, because some people have already received it, or if you have some kind of pending date about when you should be able to potentially expect it, and maybe even your bank, because every single bank is going to be doing it semi differently. But we're going to talk about all of that in today's update, so definitely stay tuned for that. So when it comes to a lot of the stimulus checks is that we officially do have word from a lot of banks, and I mean the overwhelming majority of banks. I believe Chase Bank, Wells Fargo Bank, a lot of other banks, they're planning to hopefully finally deliver the stimulus checks by the end of tomorrow. So interestingly, by the very end of March 17th, so Wednesday, March 17th. Now, I think that the overwhelming majority of the banks are doing it tomorrow. However, there may be a slight delay, for instance, because some banks tend to be a little bit slower with processing payments. So I would probably say a safe bet, hope that it comes by the end of tomorrow, but if anything, I'd give it maybe a couple days, really just for safety reasons. I'd say give it till maybe about Friday. Maybe Friday, Thursday, Friday, but hopefully by the end of tomorrow. And then beyond this, though, is that keep in mind is that the dates that they're sending out, the checks that they're sending out this week, everything is going to be related to direct deposit. So if you are someone that's waiting for either paper checks or any other kind of way to receive your stimulus check beyond direct deposit, so for example, like paper checks, if you're trying to claim it on the tax refund or anything like that, then it's probably going to be the following week or just some other future week. I believe paper checks, they're hoping to do it next week, and then the following week it's basically for every other payment method that really exists out there to deliver your stimulus checks. But I do also want to talk about certain potential delays that might end up happening for some people. Not many people. I don't think most people are going to go through this, but it is that if it may potentially happen. And I think the real first one, honestly, is just that if your bank is slow. Honestly, you're always going to have some banks that are very fast and some banks that maybe just take a little bit of a while. That may be one of the causes. I think the other big one, maybe the more common, is really about the way you do your taxes. So because a lot of people maybe recently filed their taxes, it is very possible that if you filed your taxes recently already, they may be still, it's not common, but it is something that may possibly potentially happen, is that while they're waiting for your taxes to potentially process, there may be something that they need to adjust on it. That may potentially lead to a slight delay of some kind. But again, it's not common, but it is just something to maybe be aware of. And really the other thing, honestly, is just really if they're just waiting for your information or just don't have your information to physically send your stimulus check. I think most people should have that taken care of, but it's especially true, again, going back, is that when they roll over and process your recent tax, so your brand new 2020 tax report, it may potentially potentially happen to some people. And then probably the last thing I really want to talk is about the garnishment side, about whether or not it's garnished. So the answer to that question is that yes, actually, a huge difference actually between the first, the second, and then the third stimulus check that we're talking about now is that the third stimulus check is actually garnished, but only for some people. I believe is that it's protected from being garnished from anything related to tax debt or child support. So that is the really great news. Is I think that for most people it will not be garnished. Most people, in the sense that because if you happen to owe tax debt, or if you happen to owe child support, or anything related to the government, then the great news is that you should be set or free from any kind of potential garnishment of some kind. However, what it is not protected from is actually any kind of private debt. So I think that's really important to note. So if you own any kind of private related debt, this could be maybe, let's say you took out a loan for a car and you now happen to own your car company, or just anything that's basically not child support and not the government, then there is a chance that they can potentially interfere and take your stimulus check from you. I probably think the one that's going to be the most impactful is probably maybe credit card and actually medical bills debt, especially medicals. A lot of people went through a lot of difficult health-related complications, especially last year. So there are a lot of people that are actually in debt related to anything in the world of medical bills or anything like that. So the answer is yes, there are actually certain people that can get their stimulus check garnished depending on the specific kind of debt that they currently owe. I think really the big reason why they're doing this is I don't actually think it was fully a choice. I think it was really because they tried to approve this stimulus package using budget reconciliation. When you approve things using budget reconciliation, there's a lot of very, very specific guidelines that you really have to follow. For example, like minimum wage, that was something that they cannot do under budget reconciliation. And then supposedly one of them has to do with being able to protect people from garnishments. But specifically, again, private debt garnishments. So not taxes, not child support, but pretty much anything else. Credit card bills, medical bills, car bills, like anything beyond that world. Now, I do think maybe one positive news is that, and interestingly, there's a lot of companies, and we're talking about the private companies, that can technically claim your stimulus check, but are actually even trying to, interestingly, fight for it now to try to prevent the garnishment. In other words, there are actually a lot of people right now that are trying to fight for it right now to remove this garnishment so that everyone that qualifies for the stimulus check, of course, can get their stimulus check. We just don't know how the case is going to go, but the answer is that yes, it is garnished for some people, but it is just something really to note, because I know there's some kind of confusion about that. So with that being said, that's what I honestly just really wanted to cover in today's video, because I know there are some people still waiting. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you guys are looking for other details about stimulus checks, I'll put a couple of other videos at the end. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well. Remember to smash the like button. Feel free to comment any questions, thoughts about anything, and consider subscribing. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you guys next time. Hopefully those stimulus checks arrive super soon. I'm still waiting as well, so we're all really in this together at the end of the day. Thank you guys so much again.